Good morning and thank you. Welcome to Seattle. I'm sure you all live or work here. I'm an energy planning supervisor here at Seattle City Light. I've been working for the utility for 20 years. I've been working for electric utilities doing energy conservation work for about 30 years. After my presentation, I plan to walk out and go back to work. So if you have questions for me, why don't you ask them when I get done? How about that? And here we go. Conservation at Seattle City Light. Seattle City Light has the longest continually operated energy conservation program in the country. We began in 1977 and have been acknowledged with awards for that over the years. And since the mid-70s, early 70s, we have considered energy conservation to be an energy resource for the utility. Energy conservation supplies us with the least cost, least risk, least environmental impact of any energy resource we can purchase, and it keeps dollars in the local economy. Our programs are designed to reach all across all the markets and all the customers that we have, and to provide access for all ratepayers to at least engage us in programs. From a policy perspective, again, starting in the mid-1970s, City Light or city resolutions have communicated City of Seattle's preference for energy conservation and or renewables as a resource of choice in meeting our load growth. And in November of 2006, the voters of the state of Washington passed Initiative 937, which established what it maybe in the industry is called a resource portfolio standard, which includes a conservation component and a renewable component. And we are required every 2 years to do a conservation potential assessment, and which outlines the potential that we'll achieve over the next 10 years. And we're obligated to go and pursue all cost-effective conservation in that 10-year period. Our strategic plan also outlines that we'll meet load growth with conservation and renewable resources aligned with the I-937 targets. And also our 2012 and I would assume our 2014 Integrated Resource Plan provides a foundation for energy conservation. I mean, it is the resource of choice for us, and I'm going to show you this slide. Technology works. I know electricity works. I'm not sure if the battery works. So the dark blue, the navy blue bar on this chart is conservation. And this is the big chunk of resources that Seattle City Light is going to use for the foreseeable future to underwrite our resource needs. And it looks like up until maybe the year 2020, we don't need any resources other than energy conservation at all. And then in 2020, that there's a really small yellow band. I don't know if you can see that on top there. It looks like that's landfill gas. And then there's other, primarily all renewable resources being built on top of that conservation. The 2014 Integrated Resource Plan should be updated this fall sometime, but I expect that this will look very much the same as it does out of the 2012 IRP. This is the 2014 energy savings target and budget, just to give you some sense of where we think the energy savings are coming from. Commercial and industrial represent the lion's share, 56%, residential multifamily 12%, residential lighting, appliances, and behavior 26%, takes up the majority of our efforts. Jeremy, we do have solar in there. I know that's surprising to you. But we have now added the first year energy savings from new solar projects to count towards our targets. So if you don't know Jeremy, remind me what firm you work for. Puget Sound Solar, located in Ballard. What do I know? They're on Dearborn. The budget, $46.5 million. Lion's share, again, 66% goes towards incentives. We are buying energy savings from our customers, and you guys are helping us do that. Labor accounts for about 17% of the overall budget. Professional services, contracted activity where we need consulting help to do things like our conservation potential assessment, roughly 8%. The NIA membership is roughly 4%, and then there's a bunch of other things added together that make up 5%. The energy savings, what we're projecting out of this year's, well, this is 2013, excuse me, energy savings, lighting dominates where we're getting our savings, both in the residential and commercial industrial sectors. This is aligned with our conservation potential assessment. This is what we would expect to see from the potential assessment, this sort of activity. In the residential, the behavior is maybe some of you who are City Light customers are receiving a home energy report at your home every couple months, and that gives you a smiley face if you're doing well compared to your neighbors, and maybe a frown if you're not. We've just evaluated this program. It's delivering about 10% of the savings out of this particular portfolio. It's 25% of the residential target, but it's 10% of the overall effort. I guess all of that is fairly self-explanatory. I think this might be the last slide that I have. So thank you. Our energy advisors telephone number is there if you have any questions about our programs, and they can route you to the appropriate staff, or they're very good at answering questions. So I guess I'll take a couple questions before I go back to work. Yes? When we do a potential, I'll try to answer your question. This may take me a second, though, and if I miss the mark, let me know. When we do a potential assessment, we're looking at a 20-year horizon, and really the targets are set off the next 10 years. We update this every 2 years. That 56%, whatever that is, 3 average megawatts or something like that, we subtract that out of the potential, but there's still plenty of lighting potential in that residential sector that's cost effective and available now and over the next few years. So we're updating this every 2 years as we move through time and subtracting out things we've done, but as we move through time, other technology comes into the market that's cost effective. I think 6 years ago, LED lighting was sort of a pipe dream in the residential sector. At least that was my opinion at that point. But the cost has come down so rapidly that it's a significant portion of the potential. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I was just kind of wondering, so if I were to look at this slide next year, would that slide say you want it to be 60% of your savings? Is that how you're moving forward?
It could be exactly the same, or it could go up, or it could go down, depending on where where the potential is. The thing that's going to impact us, and Art knows this better than I do because he's more involved in the lighting technology than I am. Federal standards are impacting what's available, especially retail, residential. The A bulb and CFLs are, even though CFLs meet the standard, LEDs offer so much more advantages in color rendering, dimmability, applicability, longevity, that we're moving, over the CFL market, which historically has made up a huge chunk of the energy savings in the residential, and we're shifting to an LED marketplace. Art, is that fair?
Yeah, so if you want a 60-watt light bulb, you should buy it this year because starting 2015, they will no longer be sold. So for instance, 75-watt lights, they went out beginning of 2013. They stopped being manufactured. So that's just an example of how those standards roll out. Anyway, we're unfortunately out of time for your section. But
are you sure? Because I want to stand up here and talk for a while. I know you said that, but before I go, is there any other question that I can answer?
One more.
I don't know. Jeremy, is this for general audience or is this?
I'm just curious about the behavioral section of the residential and all of that includes.
The behavior in residential, we send a letter out. The firm is called O-Power. They send a letter out to customers indicating how they're doing compared to their neighbors or other households.
How do you get the 25% figure there?
So the number of participants is in the 40,000 range. We also have a control group that's equally as large, and we've spent some significant resources in looking at the energy consumption of those participants and the non-participants and netting out all the program impacts. So while the magnitude of the savings is in the 1, 2, 3% on the participants, we've got 40,000 people involved. So that's why the savings are so big. Does that answer the? If it doesn't answer it, let me know, because I want to make sure I.
Yeah, I can see where you're going.
Okay. I'll catch up with you on the phone. Okay. Thanks, Stephen.